We all know that calmly sitting takes a different amount of physical energy compared to a full running sprint. But what we don't often realize is that our minds experience the same dynamic. Namely, different modes of thinking require different levels of energy. Like our bodies, our cognitive mind prefers to remain at ease and feels great strain when pushed to its limits. Our minds prefer to engage in a casual conversation versus doing complex tasks. To demonstrate the stress we experience when our minds are at full tilt, Kahneman designed an interesting experiment. He would ask subjects to remember a simple series of numbers and transform each digit in the series by adding plus one. So, for example, if the subject was shown 5294, they would transform that into 6305. That sounds simple enough, but he created pressure by introducing a time constraint. The subjects would have several seconds to remember the sequence and would have another couple of seconds to perform the mental calculation. As soon as they were done with one string of numbers, another string would be immediately introduced at a constant and unrelenting pace. We will briefly replicate that experience here so that you can feel the energy required to perform the task. Remember, your job is to remember the number and then transform it by adding plus one to each digit. Let's see how you do and how it feels. I will make a small tapping sound with 4 taps to remember the number and 4 taps to transform and report the number. Here we go. How did that feel? A bit strenuous? Now, just to push it a step farther, let's ramp it up to 6 digits, and instead of adding 1, let's add 3. So, for example, 483035 would translate to 716361. Are you ready? Here we go. Now, hopefully, you started to feel or imagine the mental strain involved in doing this mental sprint. But what you may not have realized is that as you did that, your pupils dilated significantly. Kahneman showed that when we confront difficult mental tasks, our pupils expand as a reflection of the energy we are expending. And further, he found that if he introduced random letters on the screen during the exercise, people struggled to recall if a specific letter had been displayed. As attention and effort ramp up, our minds prioritize the task at hand and sacrifice noticing other realities. There are many lessons to be learned from the simple experiment, but one is that we are not only lazy, but we are efficient. We tend to break tasks down into smaller steps or create tools to help us alleviate our mental load. When we ask too much of our minds, we are not only exhausted, but we tend to miss other vital information that is right in front of us. Our minds have limits and constraints, just like our bodies do.